Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Fatnin Nadiah Binti Yunus. In this video, I would like to talk about syphilis disease. So, what is syphilis? Syphilis is an infection that is transferred through sexual contact. It transmits from person to person by skin. It cannot be spread by sharing a bathroom with another person or wearing the same clothes. And syphilis can be fatal if not treated, causing significant damage to the heart and brain. It has 4 stages. The first 2 phases of syphilis are the most contagious. The major stage of syphilis starts 3 to 4 weeks after a person catches the infection, and it may go undetected because the clinical signs differ and advanced stages are now relatively rare in the most industrial nation. Okay, so for literature review part, from Zamri and his team, syphilis is a rare indication of Treponema pallidum infection. Cases of ocular syphilis infection have dropped, reduced the chronic syphilis disease as a consequence of antibiotic. So, the purpose of this study was to document the clinical presentation of ocular syphilis at the hospital University Science Mission Eye Clinic, which means to see how ocular syphilis evidence itself in patient. So, 10 out of 106 cases presenting with ocular inflammation, they were found to have ocular syphilis. So we can conclude here, in HIV negative individual, postural uveitis was the most prevalent symptom of ocular syphilis. So we need to make early detection and treatment of ocular syphilis. Maybe can resolve the inflammation to better vision. Moreover, syphilis, as defined by Faisal and his team, is one of the most common serious sexual transmitted disease, STD, caused by bacteria and characterized by a multi-stage course that includes both symptomatic and asymptomatic phases. So they do some research that look at how syphilis spread and how it was treated in people who came to Rome-based infection disease center. So from this study, it also include people who had syphilis while pregnant. In conclusion, the major public health risk of gravidic syphilis needs action, and it's also important to stress the need of early detection of syphilis and HIV infection. Moving to problem statement, using SMR approach and the poison gamma model, this study explored the geographical distribution of syphilis in Malaysia. It has focused on behavioral risk variables to assess the relative risk of syphilis, such as unprotected sex, multiple sex relationship, having HIV, and being with someone who has sex with another person. So, 2 methodologies reveal that areas with a high concentration of syphilis patients are at increased danger, whereas areas with a low concentration of syphilis cases at a low risk. Actually, both SMR approach and the poison gamma model will estimate relative risk while considering population sizes. Okay, next objective for this study is to get to know the geographical distribution of syphilis in Malaysia using the SMR technique and the poison gamma model. Second, to demonstrate and explain more about the application of SMR approach and the poison gamma model for syphilis maps in determining the relative risk of each Malaysia state. Next, material and method. First, standardized mortality ratio, SMR. SMR is the ratio of observed to predict mortality. The observation incident divided by expected incident. SMR has been conventionally used for the counts within tract analysis. It was calculated as follows. SMR equal to observed divided by expected multiple with 100. Second, Poisson gamma model. A gamma distribution is a great alternative, which will turn out that the gamma distribution is complementary to the Poisson distribution, which implies the probability may be solved in a closed form. So here is the formula as the slide from the slide. So second, data set. This study is get from data from Malaysian Department of Statistics and the Ministry of Health, which were both provided. An SMR approach is used to analyze syphilis data in the form of case frequency for 15 states measure. So the observed infection disease in Malaysia and aggregate data set for the year 2017 were used in this study. Also, ArcMap software is used to compute the relative risk, and all of the results are provided in graph and table to make them easy to understand. And the number of syphilis cases in Malaysia displayed on a map is computed from the relative risk results. After that, result and discussion. So we can see the relative risk outcome of syphilis disease using the SMR method in figure 1 from 15 different states in Malaysia for the year 2017. Based on figure 1, most of the states in Malaysia show the value of relative risk for syphilis disease is lower than 1 for 2017. Okay. Next, for figure 2, plot relative risk value estimate using Poisson gamma model and the number of syphilis cases for 15 different states in Malaysia 2017. So if the relative risk value is more than 1, people in the state are most infected with syphilis. So from here we can see wilayah Persekutuan Kat Kuala Lumpur and Putrajaya is really high infection. So from table 1, from here we can compare the relative risk for syphilis disease between the SMR method and the Poisson gamma model. So it also shows the frequency of syphilis cases from different states in Malaysia. Sarawak, Selangor, Kuala Lumpur and Putrajaya, also Labuan, have higher relative risk value, which are more than 1, and we can see that the people in that state more easily become infected with syphilis disease. So people in other states are less infected with syphilis since the relative risk value is less than 1. The smallest frequency of syphilis cases in 2017 was 13 people recorded for Perlis. Even though the frequency of syphilis is more different, the relative risk for both methods was higher since the value mean and standard deviation of Poisson gamma model are lower than SMR method. The Poisson gamma model has a better estimation for relative risk than the SMR method. Okay, next. This map we are using by choropleth maps to show the difference between the high and low risk of syphilis cases in the state of Malaysia. So there are 5 different relative risk level for each state are very low, low, medium, high and very high. The brightest red color shows a deficit risk state, while the darkest red color shows a very high risk state. Based on figure 3, SMR method maps shows Kuala Lumpur and Putrajaya is very high risk state infected. At the same time, Sarawak is high risk state and Sabah and Labuan shows the medium risk state infected syphilis cases, while other states are low risk infected. Okay, based on figure 4, Poison Gamma model maps shows the same result with SMR method maps because the difference of relative risk value for both method is smaller. However, the relative risk in the map is same with SMR. Kuala Lumpur and Putrajaya is a very high risk. Sarawak is high risk. Sabah and Labuan shows the medium risk state of syphilis cases, and the very low risk state infected with syphilis cases are Kedah, Pahang and Terengganu. So based on SMR method and Poison Gamma model maps, there are no obvious difference in relative risk value. So we can see that the color of each state on SMR method map is same as Poison Gamma map. Therefore, both methods are the best method to calculate the relative risk value and show the difference between high and low risk of syphilis or cases. Therefore, both methods are the best method to calculate the relative risk value. As the conclusion, this study was about geographical distribution of syphilis in Malaysia by using SMR technique and the Poison Gamma model. According to the goodness of fit test, the Poison Gamma model's means and standard deviation value are lower than those of the SMR approach. The Poison Gamma model estimate relative risk more accurate than SMR method. So we found out that there are no evident variation in relative risk value based on the map. And SMR technique map, we can observe that the color of each state in Malaysia is same on Poison Gamma model. As a result, both techniques are the best to use in computing the relative risk value and demonstrate the difference between high and low risk of syphilis cases in all Malaysian states.
That's all from us. Thank you.